Nicola plays for anything between 3 and 6 hours a day, and we're heading back to her home where she's got some more practicing to do. How do you see yourself, Nikki? Italian, Scottish, Scottish, Italian?
I see myself as a Scots-Italian. I was born in Scotland, I grew up there. I've never lived in Italy. I'm always a visitor in Italy.
Do you speak Italian?
No, let's just say no. I've studied Italian numerous times and never very successfully. It's just too many other things to study as well. I will get there, there's no question, because my children are going to be able to speak Italian. I've come to that conclusion.
You haven't got any children yet?
I don't have any children yet, no. My future children are going to speak Italian.
Are you going to say a single sentence for me in Italian?
No.
Not even my name is Nicola Benedetti?
No.
And I'm a violinist?
No. Definitely not. Nothing. I'm not going to say a thing in Italian.
Why not?
I'm sorry. Please don't make me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. No.
Nicola's concert schedule means that she spends a lot of time away from home.
I don't mind travelling at all, thank goodness. I actually love like putting the violin on my back. I've got my case. The only thing that's difficult for me is I've got really weak arms and quite weak wrists. It sounds ridiculous because I play the violin. People would think that I have some sort of muscle, and I must have some muscle, otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be able to play, but they're not the muscles that you need to carry suitcases. So I find I often get aches and pains from carrying so much stuff.
What is life like outside of music? Is there a life outside of music for you?
That's the question. I wouldn't say there's much of a life outside of music and everything that goes along with being a musician and being a performing musician. It does sort of take over your life quite a lot, but that's for now. I think I'm having a sort of a wave of just incredible good fortune and opportunity at the moment, and I'm grasping that and taking it and honouring it as best as I possibly can, but I think, you know, at another stage of my life I'll probably dedicate more time to home time, family time. It's always a funny feeling, like when you've just done a concert that all your fibres were kind of building up for, and it's with a certain repertoire, and then just like a matter of hours later you're just beginning again to prepare with this. You want to find the same amount of intensity and focus as you had for the previous one, but inevitably there's a slightly different feeling in your body because you've just done one, and that's something that it's taken me a little while to sort of get used to refocusing so quickly.
What you'd really like to be doing is going and eating a cake.
I would love to be eating a cake right now. I really get the munchies after. Is that like a Scottish phrase? I don't know. I always want to eat and all the wrong things just after I've performed. And it's so stupid because if you have to play the next day, it's like the whole day is ruined just feeling stuffed from eating cake. Yeah. For some reason I have this strange habit to always play, like I practice in the corner of a room or just actually facing a wall. People never understand that. I could be in the largest, beautiful space and I would just be like in my little corner playing away to the wall. I don't know why I do that. It's almost like a protective feeling.
Later in the week, Nicola's performing for the first time with conductor Valery Gergiev, and they're rehearsing Szymanowski's violin concerto in the morning. Nicola's performing at the last night of the Proms, and when we meet up again, she's got an appointment at a shop in Knightsbridge to try on dresses for the big occasion.
Hello.
Must be Nikki and Catherine. Lovely to meet you. How are you? Come in.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hello. How are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Yes, good.
Very
excited. So we had a bit of a look beforehand, and there was a few here we thought might work.
Oh, I didn't see that colour underneath that.
Yeah, it's got like a gold. and then it would catch the light amazingly, and then it sort of frees you up for the violin.
My only initial concern would just be how where that comes to. But if
Yeah.
it stops there,
Yeah.
and actually my legs are sort of free in all of that
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
then I would be
Yeah.
really comfortable. And to have no straps usually means no issues with the the violin and all the
Exactly.
and my shoulders would be free. Ta-da! Can I walk in it? That's the only
Oh
thing.
my god, you look incredible.
It's actually so comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I'm
Stunning.
It's fabulous.
I don't feel like I'm in some, ridiculous kind
Stunning.
of. This is.
That is so beautiful.
And I can walk in it as well. I can't believe that.
That is so beautiful.
It's incredible.
I feel really
Yeah.
posh.
It's a perfect fit as well.
I feel really.
It's
I
like
feel.
giving me goosebumps. You
Yeah.
look beautiful.
Right, look at this one.
Not quite the same reaction as the last one.
Still
Much more
sensational.
subtle, but.
It's beautiful.
And this is the one that you have in red without
we
the
do.
strap.
It's red.
Slightly big. But
It would be sort of more like this, so you'd really sort of show off the waist. So that could be a bit smaller on you.
I was gonna play in it quickly.
Why didn't you practice with the other dresses?
Because I could tell that wasn't going to be problematic. This one I can feel digging in sort of there a little bit, and also the shoulder rest sort of sits across there. So if you feel that there's going to be material, it's all very subtle. I mean, the funny thing is, once you're on stage, you just
It goes out the window.
yeah, you do. You just go for it and you don't worry. We're going to G&A Beer. I'll take my violin there to get fixed if broken and just generally checked over. With a lot of travelling, you need to do that just to make sure that the violin is in the best condition.
Is it broken?
I really hope not.
Mark Robinson is one of the violin restorers.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hi.
How
How are you doing? Nice to see you. How are you? So brought it in.
Yeah.
There's nothing particularly wrong. It's sounding fine, but as usual, I've been travelling a lot, and it's been on probably about 15
Yeah.
flights since I last came here.
What do you think makes one very talented musician a success, make it, and another not?
It's a very difficult question. I think some of it is down to good fortune, being in the right place at the right time, but obviously you have to reach a certain level of proficiency on your instrument. But I think more than anything else, you do have to have a message that you're trying to convey to people. You have to have a message that people are moved by and people are inspired by and they want more of. And that should reach to everyone in classical music, from the industry to the audience, to the people that buy the CDs. I think you have to have something to say.
What's your message? What do you want to say?
What do I want to say? I want to say as genuinely as I can my feelings towards the pieces that I'm playing. So I want to convey my love for these incredible masterpieces through the way I interpret them. But more broadly, I want to say everyone should hear this music and everyone should experience what I'm experiencing and everyone should feel the emotions I feel when I play them and when I listen to those pieces. I think that's my sort of overarching message, is I want everyone to experience that, because I believe it's something you shouldn't live a life without experiencing.
Nicola is playing Max Bruch's Violin Concerto No. 1 in G minor at the last night of the Proms. You were playing that from memory, no music.
Yeah.
Do you have the whole piece committed to memory?
I sure do, because I've performed it that many times.
Nicola performed the third movement of the piece as an 8-year-old in Scotland. How important, Nikki, is the instrument that you play?
It's extremely important. It's, I mean, so much of the work you do and the sound that you're trying to develop, if you don't have an instrument which allows that to shine through, it can be the most frustrating thing. I've been extremely fortunate since I was around the age of 13, 14. I've had really, really good violins, and even before that, I had a violin on loan to me, a 7/8 instrument. So when I was really young, I also had a really good violin. I really count my blessings on that front.
If I told you, Nikki, that I'm going to take that violin away from you for the last night of the proms, and you had to have another violin, how would that make you feel?
I mean, I would really be devastated. I mean, I've only been playing this violin for 6 months, but the fact that it was a match made in heaven is... It could have been anybody's guess what my relationship to this violin could have been. So you develop that sound, you develop the closeness with the instrument. And I mean, I say I would be devastated, but that happens to people. Some people have a violin on loan and the owner needs to sell it suddenly, or decides that they want somebody else to play it, and your violin is taken away from you. It's really, it has never happened to me, but it's happened to people very close to me, and it's like your heart being ripped out. It is the most awful thing to happen.
Nikki, thank you so much for spending time with me.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been really good fun.
Take care.